I thought that if we did not start where much of the sport is, then we would be denying sort of what is one of the buzziest items of the moment. Because on January 2nd, the transfer portal opened. And, buddy, we've already got some pieces that are falling into place. So, Mikey, let's jump into that portal. Let's begin with what I believe would be QB1 of this transfer portal class. That would be Brendan Sorsby, the former Cincinnati quarterback. That we heard that there was going to be a push from an LSU. You know, we heard that there might be a push from a Miami. I do believe there was a push from a Miami, but ultimately Texas Tech lands their guy. DK, I think that the conversation at the Orange Bowl was if Brendan Sorsby could potentially be acquired right away. That might have been a little bit of an upgrade here. Are you surprised at all? And is this the big fish you think for this transfer portal class?
I don't think any of them are sure things, but if you look at the 4 teams left in the playoff, all of them have transfer quarterbacks. It's kind of the new economy. It's what we look to do. And look how teams to improve. They'd rather have a guy with experience who's coming off a really nice really nice season than somebody who you have nothing about, whether it's a 5-star freshman like Bryce Underwood was last year, or it's a backup like a Kenny Minchie who comes in maybe or a Julian Sand like we saw with Ohio State. But this seems to be the new economy. I've heard the numbers as high as 6. I think it's been reported 5. I think it's as high as 6, which is kind of crazy. Is it worth the money? If you're willing to pay it, they'll do it. But I do feel like Brendan Sorsby benefited from the performance of Baron Morton in that Orange Bowl because it was ugly. I was not impressed with Morton throughout the season. I think that might have been the missing piece for that team was the quarterback play. He was good. He wasn't great. And I think that sort of feeling of we were that close, we can get right back there. We just need a quarterback who's a difference maker. I think that was why he benefited. Now, is he that guy? I'm not completely sold on him, but he'll have better weapons around him. There's some speculation they might get Cam Coleman in the portal. They're not just going to stop at Sorsby. Once the dust settles.
Bye, Danny.
Oh, no.
No, you broke up a little there. It's not surprising. Like, what was the one tweet as soon as he entered the portal? Like, somebody was tweeting about how his girlfriend had transferred to Texas Tech to play volleyball. So it was like, that's where he's going to end up going. Obviously, there was the, I think it was LSU, right? Was the other program that he was down to, like the 2 ones that were after him the hardest?
I think Miami made a run at him.
Yeah, I thought Miami at one point was in on Leavitt and Sorsby, I believe.
Yeah.
So, like, the number inflating, I think, is certainly surprising, like, even to some of our viewers. But if you think about it, like, who's the highest paid coach in the NFL? It's Andy Reid. 112 guys make more money he does, players-wise, right? Next highest paid is Sean Payton. You got about 140 who make more than him. That's per Sportico. Like, is Joey McGuire above a replacement level coach at the, like, let's say upper half of the P5? Probably not, right? Like, their success came when they started, like, just firing the money cannon like crazy. I'm not saying he's a poor coach, but if they lost Joey McGuire tomorrow, do I think anything different about Texas Tech? No, I don't. So, I mean, if you comp it to, like, other sports that are now paying their players, like the top free agent quarterback making, like, half or a little bit less than what the head coach makes is not out of whack at all. Like, the real thing out of whack is how much they pay these coaches relative to what they pay the guys that actually win the games on the field.
I do think that there is a Texas Tech aspect of this where they do a barrier for entry to eliminate competition, because they can't, like, there is seemingly, especially compared to most of the other programs, there is seemingly no cap there. Right. I mean, it's just they are not doing any number crunching. They are not worried about robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like, if they want to win a bidding war, I think Texas Tech is one of the very few programs in the country where they're kind of it's an infinity sign for how high they want to take this.
You also have to pay a little bit of a premium to get guys to live in Lubbock, right? To get guys to come to a program with no history of winning at a high level. Certainly, they've had some good seasons. I'm not dogging them for that, and really not much history of putting guys into the league relative to the programs against which they're bidding. So, like, it costs more to get a guy to go to Texas Tech than it does to get him to go to Georgia or Texas.
I don't know why you guys are talking about money. He said it was because of the facilities.
Facilities, that's right.
Like the bank.
Yeah, just like the brotherhood he felt with the guys in that room while he was there on the visit. Like, you can't put a dollar amount on any of that, guys. I think we're paying way too much money to the dollars here.
I will say, Joey McGuire, for his part, the way that he tells it is he does all the recruiting, then he steps aside, and then the player and the family and the representative go into another office with sort of the general manager and the personnel people. So Joey at least tells, he explains it as though he is hands off of the money stuff and that he's still doing it the old school way. So don't worry, Tom. Texas Tech's head coach still believes in personal relationships and getting that done. What about the player?
If you talk to McGuire, like, I actually buy that.
Yeah,
I think he's a very personal guy and was a good recruiter before the money thing became a thing, but obviously not good enough to actually beat like schools like Texas for players.
Right.
It's a wild path for Brendan Sorsby.
Ohio.
Like, what was it, 3 years ago? Like, he was he didn't start the season as Indiana starter. He took the job from Taven Jackson, played pretty well as a freshman. Kurt Signetti comes in. They get Curtis Rourke from Ohio. They let Brendan Sorsby leave. I don't know what's happened in Indiana since then. I can't remember. But so Sorsby ends up at Cincinnati, and now he is going to be like the highest paid quarterback likely in the portal. It's a crazy path, and it kind of goes back to what Danny was saying at the very start. Because I like Sorsby. When he left Indiana, I was questioning if they were making the right decision letting him leave because I was really impressed by what I saw from him. But it is kind of wild to me that now just being a guy who's played for 3 years and being available is going to make you a whole hell of a lot of money. Because that's what it feels like. Like, none of these quarterbacks that are in the portal strike me as – there's no Mendoza in this class. There's nobody who I think is going to be like a top 5 NFL draft pick available in the portal this year. But they're getting paid like it.
Well,
but
do they have the upside? Because
is last year it was Mateer.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma got to the playoff.
Last year was
not really because of Mateer.
Mendoza wasn't that
bad. Mateer gave them a better chance to make the playoff than Michael Hawkins.
Yes.
All day.
Yes. So that at least was money well spent. That was an acquisition that I would say worked.
You're paying for the floor, which I think for a guy like Sorsby, I had read on, I guess, social media that he got like a third round grade or something like that. I'm not passing on as fact, but like that kind of logically follows that if that's what your grade was from the NFL, your projected comp is about $5 million if you're a third round quarterback. So you kind of have to give him something close to that to like get him to not go to the NFL.
Okay.
But you have the upside of maybe you get better, right? Maybe you elevate to like a top half of the second round, late first type guy, and then you're making like really serious money.
I do think they've got a good offensive staff. I mean,
Yeah.
like the upgrade they're getting at quarterback is going to allow them to hopefully be more effective to, create different problems for the defense so that when they are using that tempo, when they are trying to hit those explosive plays, you're just going to get a little bit of better play at that quarterback position. So huge for Texas Tech. I mean, we've still got a lot of pieces left, and I don't think Texas Tech is done putting together their portal class, but obviously they've got the big star right there. Speaking of Indiana, Josh Hoover, we in? Yeah.
I think they're also putting good players around him. I don't think Hoover's Mendoza. I do think it's a small downgrade, but I don't think it's a tremendous downgrade. I think the biggest difference is Mendoza in his career has showed a much better ability to take care of the football, whereas I think Josh Hoover's got a lot more YOLO to him. So it'll be interesting to see if Indiana can coach that out of him. Because there was 2 years ago, he was, as a freshman, he turned it over a ton, fumbled a lot. Sophomore year, he got things in line. And then this year, I felt he regressed quite a bit towards those tendencies. Can they get him back to the guy we saw in 2024? If they do, I mean, he's going to be fine. He's going to have a really good team around him.
I think this too, when Bud said earlier you have to pay a premium to go to Lubbock, I don't know if that's true anymore because of the money. I think players go where the money is and they go where the chance to win is. Like you would have, when the first year of Indiana under Kirk Cignetti, I bet they might have had to pay a premium for whatever players they did get. But now when you become a destination spot because you've got a chance to win the Big Ten and win a national championship, I don't know if you do that. And even at Texas Tech, like the fact that they're a brand, I don't know if it matters as much anymore. I do think in years past it would have. But I think as long as you're paying the top dollar and you have a chance to win, and, you know, I don't even know if that even matters as much as the money does now, because I think players just want to secure the bag. But I don't think you have to pay a premium as much to get players lured away from a Texas or a Georgia or a Miami because they might be better destination spots.
I think that might be case by case. I think some of these schools are a brand because of the money. And if they don't pay the premium, they cease to be the brand.
Hey, you want to talk about just reckless? I saw it on social
Do you
media.
think Josh Hoover was overpaid? I don't know if he was overpaid. I think for him, he probably got market value.
I mean, they have done a really good job with quarterbacks. And so like Indiana might get guys either on market or at a discount at that position, given like where Mendoza's probably going to get drafted.
To be fair, though, we talk about Texas Tech because of like Cody Campbell and all that stuff. It's not like Indiana isn't dropping hefty bags. Like, how much money did they spend yesterday with all the commitments they got? I mean,
that's
Uber,
the other.
they got
been
Nick
dropping
Marsh. Yeah,
Yes.
like they are dropping plenty of money just as much as Texas Tech is.
Like when they were even the first playoff team, year one, Sig spent a lot of money on that team. You know, it was just a total overhaul in a way that I think got everyone's attention. And of course, everything that Indiana has done since then, very much getting the attention. But you know, we've got Rocco Becht to Penn State. We just mentioned Josh Hoover to Indiana. Mestemaker does end up linking up with Eric Morris at Oklahoma State. Then you got some other non-quarterback pieces, you know, Kenny Minchey to Nebraska. Louisville keeping Isaac Brown, it's looking like. Well, that was that's pretty encouraging along the way. DJ Lagway's visiting Florida State.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So Brendan Sonnone at Knowles 24/7 reported that yesterday Calandria visited and they were way far apart on terms. Sonnone said he was just outside playing on his phone while the agents negotiated, and then they left. So I don't know if they're gonna pay up to get a guy like Calandria who has some upside. Also is like literally the whoopsie daisy king. The last time he played Power 5 competition, it was not good. Like Lagway's a really odd fit for a Gus Malzahn offense. But also, you are keeping Deuce Robinson, who's one of the very best receivers in the sport, and you had to pay him something to keep him out of the draft. I think they're in a weird spot here where, like, if you're going to moneyball this thing, you would just go pure runner to run the Gus offense.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of need to keep Deuce around, so you can't, like, go take a guy who just simply can't throw. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do you – also, like, if you're Norvell, if there's a certain number you need to hit to keep your job, you need to basically be betting on lottery tickets here at quarterback.
Which DJ Lagway is.
Like not a high floor guy.
Yeah,
right. Like that could be a complete disaster in Gus Malzahn's offense. If you're Lagway, like, is that the offense you're going to sign up to play in to kind of get your career back on track to go to the NFL? I wouldn't, but whatever. I don't know if Danny would. I would assume no. But if it all hits, certainly I could see like that paying off in a great way for them. It's just that the word "if" is doing a lot in that sentence.
Danny, what do you make of Lagway?
You guys know my feelings. I wouldn't want him. Maybe at the value play, like if you do get him cheap, but to Bud's point, I don't think he's a great fit in what Florida State wants to do offensively. I think Calandria is. Calandria running Dan Mullen's system was pretty mobile. He ran some. So I do, and I think he's gotten better, but it is a big jump to ask him to go back to the Power 4 level. But maybe he's learned. Maybe he's been a little bit better. I do think, too, what's interesting about Florida State is when we were talking about coaches and GMs, like they might not want to come there because it would only be a one-year proposition. What's the future of Mike Norvell hold? I think for players, they don't think about this at all because most of them are going to only be there for a year anyway. Like they're all thinking, hey, these are all 1-year contracts. If it doesn't work out, fine, I'll go on to the next. I would want to throw to Deuce Robinson, though. I know that.
Yeah.
What, Tom, which of the other quarterback pieces stands out to you as one that got your attention? I mean, they're like Rocco Becht follows Matt Campbell. That doesn't shock you, but it does bring about questions of like, okay, let's put another analysis on Rocco Becht because he is now going to be going up against, a different schedule, playing for a different team. It'll be a new look for a player who has been a part of college football as a starter since he was a freshman, right? So we've got a big sample size here. I don't know if that one stands out to you or any of the other quarterback moves. Which one's got your attention?
I mean, I do think that, Rocco Becht, like you said, not exactly a shocking move, kind of expected. I think that's a good move for Penn State, who will be the Nittany Cyclones next year based on the way the portal's going. So there's a whole lot of Iowa State players. The one move I really genuinely liked that was Kenny Minchie to Nebraska.
Fun fit.
I think it's a good fit. I think it's a fun fit. I think it might be an upgrade on what you had the last couple of years as far as what you're trying to do. I think that'll be interesting to see because also, like, if your offensive line is not great again, I'd rather have Minchie back there than Raiola because I do feel like he'd do a better job of being able to avoid that kind of pressure and getting away with it. Other than that, I mean, I could go with the homer pick. I could tell you I was happy about Caden Hauser ending up at Illinois. I am still very interested. The other one that really kind of stood to me is Lincoln Kienholz to Louisville. Because that's a guy, like we've seen Jeff Brom lately kind of go with, like last year, Miller Moss was a guy you were getting for a year. This is a guy that you're going to have for a few seasons that you can continue to develop. I'm very interested in seeing because all the reports we heard coming out of him from Ohio State camp in the spring, like he was giving Julian Sayin a run for his money. Like it was not just a cut and dry Sayin's killing him and we're just kind of stalling. They were like, no, he's playing very well. He's improved a lot. Give him to Brom for a couple of years. I'm wondering what he's able to do with him. I think that could be a big one. And then, as you mentioned, them being able to keep Isaac Brown at the same time. This is a Louisville offense that I think could be pretty fun to watch next year.
Speaking of Caden Hauser, Yannick Smith, the ECU wide receiver, lands at SMU. I think that's one of those good pickups along the way where, you take a look at some of the skill positions and then, certain offense, you're like, okay, that one makes sense. And that's a good one for Rhett Lashley and his crew moving forward. But who do you have your eyes on, either a team or a player? What's sort of the big buzzing question for the portal as we're sitting here on Monday morning?
I want to see if some more offensive linemen hit this thing. I mean, you look at the 247 top like portal rating so far. Scanning, got one in the top 20. And then Lance Hurd from Tennessee is in the portal, which to me is weird. Like that's a top paying program that's doing really well. And I assume he's in the portal. My assumption, and I don't know, is that they decided not to pay him. So I'd be like, why did they decide not to pay him? Right? Maybe there's somebody else who they like behind him who they are ready to promote to the spot, which, hell, the Pittsburgh Steelers did that with linebackers for like 2 decades, But I would say like the overall lack of offensive line help in so far in the portal, at least looking at the ratings and talk to some folks, that's not good. If you need to land like multiple offensive line starters, that's a problem.
Let me chicken and egg this. This is because if you're a damn good offensive lineman and you're getting paid to keep them in house, right?
I think like the second you show a pulse when you're signed out of high school, these teams are trying to re-up you immediately and should. I mean,
that's the thing is like any smart player personnel. This is what 2 portal cycles now where offensive linemen have been really tough to come by. Now it's just the understanding for the market. Like that's not a place where you're going to be able to go get instant impact. I mean, congratulations. Isaiah World has worked out for Oregon.
Yeah. I would say like not in,
but that's
not in droves. You know what I mean? Like there are select guys who will be good for sure. But if you need like the volume's not there.
Right. Very interesting to keep your eyes on that for sure.